Let's just take a moment and breathe together. Because I think it is that prayer, yeah? I've made my choice. And we get to make that choice every moment. Every moment. To listen to the voice of God. That still small voice that calls us to our greatest and highest good. That urging within us. You know, the Jewish tradition, there's this idea that there's an angel over every blade of grass saying, grow, grow, grow. I think that voice is within us as well, saying, go, grow, do it, live it, be it. And so we listen, and we choose every moment whether we are going to follow that voice or not. And so in this moment, we stop just for a moment to listen. What is that voice calling you to be, to do, to live, to experience, to give, to share, to create? Because that is the will of God within you, speaking to you, living through you. And we get to say, yes, that will, that life, that voice. And every moment, we get to choose. And as the Course in Miracles says, choose once again, and choose once again. And so we surrender. In this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment, we surrender to that voice. And join the Master Teacher Jesus and say, not my will, but that will. That will be done in and through me, as me. And so it is. And so that is so in alignment with what I wanted to talk about today. So I want to talk about the 11th step of the 12 steps. And I'm talking about the 12 steps in this short series as a path that can work for all of us to awaken us to our truth, and to help us to live that truth. If we really just take away any attachment to whether I identify myself as an addict or if I have some addictive behavior or whatever, if we just take that away and look at the steps as a spiritual path of awakening. And I love the 11th step. It says, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for the knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. If we all adopted that one statement as our mantra, as our mission, as our purpose in life, imagine what kind of life we would create. and what kind of world we would create if we truly practiced prayer and meditation for one purpose, as a process of connecting in the one mind, that is God, as we understand God. And then to listen and say, yes, yes, bring it on, yeah? And to know that we have the power to do it. Man, that's exciting to think about that, isn't it? And it's true. It's true. I mean, as we understand God, leaves it so wide open. Because I would imagine that our understanding of God is probably as diverse as at least as the number of people who are in this room today. We all have a different understanding of when we hear the word God, what does that evoke in us? You know? We hear the word God, and that word immediately pulls up our file on God. All the stuff we've learned about God, all the attachments we have about God, it just goes right into our consciousness. And then we operate from that understanding. And so, we all have that. But what happens when we say the word sometimes, depending on our association with it, is that, well, I would say that, I think anytime we say the word God, we limit our understanding or our opportunity to be open to the experience of God. Because we put God in our own minds in a box. Whatever we try to define, anything that we try to define limits for us what that can mean to us, including the word God. You know, the Tao Te Ching, it's the very first lesson, says the Tao that can be spoken, or the Tao that can be told, is not the eternal Tao. That which we can think we know and understand and define and speak and label cannot possibly be the eternal. And I love in the Jewish tradition that they don't say the word God. They don't speak the name of God. At best, they have symbols. What's YHWH? Yahweh, Yahweh. But really, I was reading Father Richard Rohr's book, Breathing Underwater, which is based on the 12 steps. It's a treatise, really, on the 12 steps in spirituality. If you'd like, I would highly recommend anything he writes, but certainly that as well. But he says that in some people believe that Yahweh is not a name, but it is an imitation of the sound of breath. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh is breath. And when we think of God, what we think of as God, as breath, as what is present in the moment, as life. Life that is breathing in the moment. Life that is vibrant in the moment. Life that contains all life. God, Yahweh, the Tao, moving in the moment. Then I think prayer becomes a conscious act, not of trying to get God to do something, not trying to change God, but to stop and remove our awareness from the external and really connect with the life that is living in the moment. Where are we going to find what we call God if not in the moment? God, as I understand God today, is that life that is living fully in the moment and is the fulfillment of everything that we could possibly desire. God is our power. God is our prosperity. God is our health. God is our well-being. God is our peace and love and joy. And God is the fulfillment of all of that. And if I'm over here looking for God yesterday, or if I'm over here looking for God tomorrow, who's here experiencing God now? God is present now, just like the breath. I'm experiencing that now. And so prayer becomes my willingness to enter into relationship with what is happening now. For the life that is living through me and through you now. Now, I'm not saying that we don't create and we don't change and we don't manifest. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, let's call that something different. To me, that's not prayer. And again, there are as many definitions of prayer as there are definitions of God. I'm just giving you mine. Not suggesting that I'm right. Just sharing what works for me. It's about choosing to say yes, to stop and engage with life now. And God, I think, is that. The will of God, aligning with the will of God. And as I said before, I think the will of God is for us in our human experience, to experience all of God, to experience the power of God. I think if God's will, I don't see God's will as this predestined plan for you and for me. I see God's will as this giving of all that God is. And we get to say, oh, I don't think so. I think I'll continue to look for God over here. Oh, I think I have a better way. Or we can say, yes, to the power and the presence of God in the moment. Because that is everything that we could possibly desire. Truly. And then from that place, we make the will of God personal to you and to me. Because we have different ways of experiencing our good, our joy, our peace, our love. We are unique expressions of God. And when we say yes to the will of God moving through us, it doesn't look the same for everyone. We get to make that personal. Through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our words, or actions. And what else does this 11th step say is that we pray for an understanding of that will, only to know that and nothing else. And then to have the power to do it. Yeah. To have the power to do it. Even though it may be scary. Even though we don't understand it. But what is the power to carry it out? I think the power to carry it out is the activity of God that we are. It's not some external thing. It's not as if we have to pray, God, give me the power to do your will. It really is a matter of surrendering, letting go of our belief in limitation, belief that we are not that, belief that we are somehow separate from God, separate from the power that God is, that limits our ability to manifest, to demonstrate, to truly claim the power of God that is within us, the power of God that we are. Because you already are it. I already are it. We get to choose to be it. Or not. And I fear for most of us, it's the latter. Because sometimes I think we think it's arrogant. It's arrogant to claim that, to think that I am an expression of the divine, and I am that power expressing in and through this dimension. As Marianne Williamson says, we think, who am I? Who am I to say that I am powerful, that I am an expression of God? And she says, we should say, who are you not to be that? It's arrogant, really, to claim that we're not. And I really do believe that it is up to each of us to stop playing small. We teach that we are that power. God lives through us. And as we align with that truth, with that power, we are the power to create a world that reflects all the good that God is. Do you believe that? Do you really believe it? Yes. And so it is our choice in every moment to say, yes, I believe it. And I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm going to embody it. I'm going to live it. I'm going to be it. Through my actions, through my words, through my thinking. No longer am I going to buy into the story that I am less than. No longer am I going to buy into the story that I am powerless in my life. No longer am I going to buy into a story that I'm a victim. No longer am I going to buy into a story that just because of who I was born into this life to be or where I was born into this life to live, that I am somehow limited. And I'm going to claim, I am the power of God living in and through this moment. And I align with that through the activity of prayer and meditation. And in that alignment, I create a world for all people that reflects the abundance, the love, the peace, the joy, the light that I believe God is in the moment. Lord Tennyson said that God is nearer than breathing. Nearer than breathing. Closer than hands and feet. We simply get to choose to open our awareness to the power of God living in us, through us, as us. Paul said it is that in which we live and move and have our being. And it is living as you, and you, and you. It is living through you. Not just a piece of it, but all of it. Are we willing to embrace that? To own that? And to make a decision moment by moment to be it? Because it is a practice. It is for me anyway. I get engaged in that stinking thinking sometimes. I don't know about you, but or I feel I'm telling myself all these things. I get into judgment of myself and other people. So it's an opportunity for us to truly live that prayer, moment by moment. To pray, to open up, to surrender to that power, the life of God. And through meditation, to just sort of become it. Only with one intention. One intention. To know the will of God, which is for all of us to live in that joy and peace and harmony and order and wonder in every moment. And for us to say yes, and through our words and our thinking and our actions, to bring that into manifestation so that together we create a world of love and peace and joy and abundance and harmony. That we do bring the kingdom of God upon the earth. You know, people thought that was Jesus' job. It's our job. Are we up to the task? I think we are. I think we are.